All right, here we are. Welcome to episode 5, part 2, aka episode 7. And here's what that means. We're going to once again recruit help from our buddy here so that we can get some time lapses of us getting stuff done. All right, and so what we're getting done today is we're going to patch copper into the factory because we need to do that. And so right now, if you look down here, you see that copper is still kind of a sloppy mess down there, along with concrete. But we want to get that node patched into the factory. There's also that second node, which we'll probably patch in as well. So we'll have to look into doing that, but essentially it's going to come in the same way as our ironworks. Essentially taking up the, the east side of the structure. We're also going to look into doing some milestones, or rather we're going to construct the smart plates so we can put them into the space elevator and unlock tiers 3 and 4, and then we're going to look at some milestones. Alright, so first things first, let's look into building some assemblers so we can construct that smart plating. And I think we have enough. Yeah, we should have enough rotors and iron plates to run 2 assemblers at once. So that should get us what we need quickly enough. So let's just put it in between here. It doesn't really matter. This is maybe temporary. We'll see. Oh, and you know what? Something I remembered is actually these need to be marked too right here. Because we're moving 100 screw. So let's go ahead and take care of that real quick. Okay, so now that should do enough to feed that assembler. Assemblers built, but also we'll see. I think if we look at the efficiency on this assembler here, 67%. So that should hit 100% now that we're getting the right amount of screws to keep it fed as it produces rotors. All right, let's build the dang thing. And smart plating, 2 rotors, 2 iron, reinforced iron plates. Should have enough for 2. And even though these are temporary, we gotta get those right angles. You know, we gotta get those right angles. There we go. Look at that. We'll not have a sloppy mess here in our factory. Sloppy messes are for downstairs. And and even though we literally just said that we could feed 2 of them, we just didn't do a splitter. Because we're in Bingus mode right now and we're just not paying attention. So, see. Layout doesn't super matter. Okay, so let's get these splitters in here. That's where you go. Right angles, right angles. See a little better that way. Obsessing compulsively about right angles. What a way to live. Alright, now we just need... How? Actually, how much power are we using? Oh. Okay, the answer is too much power. Yeah, we are over on capacity. Let's just get this guy hooked up here. And we'll have to add some more burners. Our favorite thing, more burners. Oh. Okay, let's get some solid biofuel. Okay, and we need precisely that much biofuel. However much that was. Expand our platform here, and let's put one of these guys down. Let's double check that. No? Okay. What did I do here? Approaching is fine. Okay. That works for some reason. Okay, and might as well top off these guys. Although, do I have enough? I have just enough. Look at that precision. Plus or minus like 190. Alright, so the next step is we have to begin staging for the time lapse, which means laying out the foundations here. And we do have to kind of plan for how we're going to bring our copper in. So we've got those two ore patches out there. They're both pure. So we'll figure that out first. First is that we have to get rid of these jump pads that we just put in. These are even shorter lived than our list, but here we go. Hey guys, this is Editor Adrian from the far-flung future. I had what we in the business call a goddamned audio snafu, so I'm gonna dub this in just to explain what's going on. So we're laying down our foundation here, right, for the time lapse to stage for that. And some of you keen-eyed viewers, here I am checking my spacing, right? And so if you've got eyes unlike I do, you'll see that I've made a mistake that I won't realize until the very end. So if you want to find out what exactly I did wrong, Stick around to find out, and you'll also get to hear me be kind of salty about it. And so we finish laying down the last bit of foundation there. We open up space here so the conveyors can come up, which is in the wrong place. And I'll go over what we're going to see in the time lapse. So in the time lapse, I'm going to build, I'm going to put our smelters down, 2 rows staggered, same way we did with iron. So it's going to be 8 total. The conveyors are going to come up through that hole we opened up. That's going to bring our raw ore for smelting. Then after we get ingots, that's going to go up to the next floor, which is going to be our conveyor logic floor. Right, that's where we split up our ingots based on what we need. So we're going to decide, right, for our constructors, like how many copper sheets we're building, copper wire, and cable. Right, so we'll figure that out, do the logic on that floor, use conveyor lifts to send it up to another floor where the constructors will work on them. And with that, let's get started. All right, easy enough, right? So got our smelters set up, and now we have to bring ore to the lifts to get them into the smelters. And so this is this is still editor Adrian. The audio snafu has extended up to this point and beyond. But you know what? This isn't too bad. I'll just watch what I'm doing and narrate it. Have a beer. Take it easy. And so I lay down so much foundation for this. I'll probably do something about that because it's way too much. It'll definitely help once once we get enough tickets from the resource sink to maybe reskin some of those foundations and walls. Oh, and here I'm gonna cut a lot. I mean, it is well known that I despise shrubbery of all kinds, trees as well. So I clear some room here. So I'm recording this on Saturday. So this is after my community post. Thank you to all of you who showed understanding. I know it's only 15, I think 17 of you guys now, not including my test account, which is subscribed just to see what things look like when I post. So I guess that'd be 16, but still, you know. And it might seem a little goofy for me to stress about being late, but I am sort of treating this as a job, right? Like I'm putting a lot of hours into this because I enjoy it. Like to me this is great. Like this is fun. Right, I get to play a video game, and then I get to edit it to try to spice it up, make it funny, make it interesting. And so you see here is where I start just laying down so much foundation. I see this tree and I remember, I think this tree makes me mad. Yeah, here we go. So I delete it. And so the plan here is to bring both of those pure ore nodes, get those going, and feed both of those in. And as I mentioned in the setup for getting the smelters lined up, we're going to be doing, right, we need copper wire to some extent, I mean to a significant extent. We need cable, and we're going to need sheets for when we start piping coal. So coal is going to be, it's going to be episode 8 for sure, because I am tired of having to check the power, and really, like, Satisfactory is about automation, right? So we should be automating our power. So that's the next step for sure, and it'll be great. It'll be a change of pace because we'll get to do some exploration, get out there and see the sights, right? Kind of see what else we find. And I think, so I'm guessing, rather I'm not guessing, I want to make use of the tractor, probably set up routes to get the coal from its node to the factory here, or rather not necessarily to the factory, right? We're not going to set up a power plant on the factory. We're going to set up a separate power plant, and that's going to be part of what we do. So essentially, like, episode 8 is we're kind of doing a survey of the area. I would like to get some of the infrastructure built, but we're going to have to see, right? I haven't taken a look out there. For all I know, it's going to be really complicated getting there. It could be possible that the terrain doesn't even permit. Oh yeah, here's a here's a gap in this, and I don't allow it. I don't just change the grade on it. I think I actually redo some of the foundations. But yeah, the terrain might not actually permit a tractor, at least not very easily. But we're gonna see, right? I've actually in the past kind of laid down, I guess, roads. I do wish Satisfactory had a little more blocks, kind of more suitable for laying down roads. But I kind of understand maybe why it doesn't. That's sort of more complicated, right? Some of those roads, like especially the way you would want to do a curve, that doesn't really fit on a grid very well. You can kind of make it work, but it's not exactly. I think with some greebling, right? Some taking, you know, different blocks and putting them together in strange ways, you could probably make something that's very road-like. But I'm also not sure, you know, I'm not sure how interesting that is to do, right? You know, but we'll see. I am excited though. I'm super excited because I've done a start here. I think it might have been my first time playing through. Because some of this is familiar. I think I mentioned that in the first or second episode. but I really don't know the area around here, right? I'm more familiar with the desert, not the dunes, the rocky desert, and the grasslands. Those I'm pretty familiar with. Oh god, that looks terrible to me. The way I layered those foundations, but it's what it's, guys. It's what it's. And we'll see. I mean, it'd be good to get some more slugs, although I haven't really planned out, right, doing any overclocking, right? Essentially, I've already kind of tuned the factory, right? So any additional overclocking, really, I mean, feel free to chime in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think it's probably just safe to spend that on the coal generators, right? Like just I'm constantly throwing ore away. It seems to me like I can just use it there. If I have enough coal to run X number of coal generators, right? Then just overclock them. Or does it make more sense to just build more generators? I think there's a loss in efficiency, right? Yeah, I'll have to do a little bit of research on that. I think in the past I've just overclocked coal generators, but now I'm not sure that that's actually, optimal. Now here I get frustrated with this slope that I can't seem to climb. And as I had mentioned previously, that there is a mistake. There's a pretty major mistake that I made. That is not. It might have been apparent to some of you guys. I think I kind of hinted at it too. I will probably just fix that off screen. I'm not gonna make you guys watch me redo that. Essentially, I don't want to give it away, but it is, when I find it out, it frustrates me. Because if I had just paid a little bit closer attention, right? And it's funny because I even, prior to starting the recording, I did the counting. I should have laid a marker down, Because especially when you're doing recording, and especially when, like I did with this one, I'm recording two perspectives, right? First of all, it gets hot in my room, right? Because I am running so many machines, and I have to have the door closed to reduce the reverb, even though you can still kind of hear it in the recordings, but to reduce it as much as possible. And so it gets hot, and trying to manage everything, right? Man, I got to manage the server. I got to manage the laptop that is recording the second perspective. The laptop that runs the other perspective, it isn't recording it because it can't, right? It can only do one thing. It can only run the game because it's not exactly underpowered, but it's a laptop, right? So I have to have a second laptop I'm just lucky I have all of these machines lying around, and that they're all just up to the task of doing this, right? So then I use the other one to capture the video, and they all have to record to my main rig because it's the only one that has enough storage. Because these files are big. A little more inside baseball is that I do record in 1440, scale down to 1080, and I'm getting like 50 gig, 60 gig files, things like that, right? So I'm double that for two perspectives, right? I do then process it in Handbrake to kind of compress it a little bit to just be more usable before I put it into the editor. So that goddamn audio snafu that I had. So it's too many moving parts the way I have my audio set up, because frankly I just don't know enough about audio, right? So I'm leaving some of that work to what is it, like, I guess post processors, right? So noise reduction, compressor, things of that nature, right? But I'm having kind of two apps do it before it gets recorded, right? And one of those apps, it works fine, right? It works fine when it's supposed to, but when I have two recordings going, my headset can do both Bluetooth and RF at the same time. But however, when I switch between them, right, because I don't want to be hearing the game twice, both on both perspectives. When I do that, it's like, oh, what you want me to do is switch all of your settings, right? You want to use the headset mic, right? And obviously I don't. I want to use the mic that I purchased for these recordings, and I just didn't think to check, right? I wasn't keeping an eye on OBS, which would have clearly shown that I was not recording audio. So that kind of sucks. I have kind of a mix of I was able to record some, lose some. It was it was a little frustrating. It was I guess it was the start of a very complicated week for me. That's why I had to kind of push the schedule back. I had planned already to switch it to Monday, but I was gonna give a little more heads up. Well, I don't think anybody's just sitting there with bated breath waiting for the episode to come out, right? But again, if I'm gonna treat this as a job, right, like then I gotta be professional about it, right? And so the reason I wanted to move it to Monday is I think it might be better for the algorithm. Honestly, maybe I should do some research, but I'm also a little wary of like chasing the algorithm, right? Trying to figure out what's the best way to do this. Because I do notice that things that I notice is that if as soon as you post, that seems to be when YouTube's like, all right, let me show this to people, right? But I don't think there's a lot of people watching over the weekend. I'm not a good data point for that because I watch way too much YouTube. But I don't really have enough data to figure out like when people watch. I mean, I suppose that's maybe in the analytics to some extent, and I could do some research on that, right? But I do notice that a lot of my views and a lot of the subscriptions, they happen during the week. They don't happen on the weekend. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to kind of capitalize on that, right? So put it out on Monday and just get the boost from the algorithm, the way it boosts kind of new content. And then additionally get more views, which then again boosts it. Hopefully get more engagement. Leave some comments, guys. If you have anything to add, please leave some comments. I've seen a few, right? I believe Zach was asking about how there are no foundation, right? The foundation holes. I think they're for the lifts. I haven't used them before, but I do remember initially planning like, put the lifts in the center of the foundations. That way I can use those later. But I have apparently stopped doing that since these are too close together. I don't think the holes will work for them. But really, at the end of the day, right, the plan is to seal a lot of this up. Maybe some of it. I'll see. In Space Engineers, I just do. It's essentially model building for me. I just greeble, right? It's not really about functionality. Satisfactory, right, is very much about functionality. But I've never done a lot of greebling in it. I'm not super familiar with a lot of the cosmetic blocks, but I'd like to do that, right? But we still have a long ways to go before we start doing that. But that is kind of the plan. I would love to get this factory set up, get a few more factories set up, and then come back to this one and just kind of spend some time, making it look interesting, right? But we've got a long ways to go, right? And we've got to set up coal. As it is, I only found that one node that seems to be close by. I think it was like 400 meters. There's a few that are a kilometer out, but my plan is to set up a power plant and maybe route all of that into the power plant. I imagine there's water nearby. I hope so. Otherwise, we'll have to figure that out too. I can check the map. Just go through it and see. I haven't made too much use of the interactive maps on the web. That would just give everything away, right? So I'm to some extent, doing a little bit of planning, but also not necessarily looking for stuff like way outside of the or rather looking for stuff outside of the game necessarily. I'm doing some research, right? Obviously I need to look up what the just to optimize a little bit or not do something dumb. I might still be doing that, but that's part of the fun. Plan as best as I can. And here I am going to check out the other node. I think I have to fight some hogs here. I try to, there's Caterium. I try to steer clear of the cave. I do not want to fight spiders right now. In fact, I think I had caught something in the corner of my eye. It was probably nothing. It was like a particle effect or something. That's right. This guy just kind of bails and goes towards the cave. I'm like, come on, dude. That's exactly where I didn't want to go. Luckily, he's, yeah, I am just not messing with spiders right now. Now, I wouldn't say I don't have like a phobia of spiders, but the spiders in this game are just really creepy. It's their speed and the way they blur and kind of, camouflage. Oh, here I almost take a big fall. trying to take a peek out, and really like Coffee Stain just does some really good work with terrain and just laying stuff out. Oh, and here I'm looking at one of the what are they called? The fart things, right? The noxious gas emitters. Right. The recent teasers showed that you'll be able to use Nobelisk explosives to get rid of those. That's great. Now, some people had good points. I saw some comments talking about the gas mask and the filters, kind of where they fit. You know, since you can get a Nobelisk pretty early. Like if I find sulfur and I get coal, I think I can get a Nobelisk and detonator. Yep, I see more flowers and I am enraged. Yeah, I mean, I imagine update 8 is approaching. A lot of the dev stuff seems to be upgrading to the next version of Unreal Engine is a big undertaking, and yeah, sounds like it. I'm still pretty stoked for it. There's going to be some big changes to terrain as well. I think I'd mentioned they said it would affect the area that I'm at. So what is this, Northern Forest? So we'll have to see. Hopefully not too much where I don't have to redo a bunch of stuff here, but we'll take it as it goes. Now, and the other big piece of news is that Jace is leaving Coffee Stain Studios. Which, you know, end of an era, I think. That guy really, like, you know, I think he set a really good tone for how community managers should interact with, you know, or how they should liaison with between the studio and the community, right? He did a great job. You know, he made interesting content that was honest, transparent, all that stuff. It'll be sad to see him go. He's on to greater things. He's got his own channel, Jace Varlet. Varlet? I don't remember how to pronounce his last name. And I don't remember his channel. I am subscribed to it now, but and you see, look at all of this foundation. I really could have I should have just run the conveyor, you know, just on the terrain and until I got it over there. But for whatever reason, that wasn't what I wanted to do here. Well, see, I might change it just because I usually do this and then I kind of stand back and take it all in, and it looks ugly, right? All the foundation. And so I think this is the second to last thing I have. No, it's the third to last thing I have to edit. So I'm really behind on this one. So typically I finish editing at the latest Thursday night. I process the video and then I upload it either overnight Thursday or Friday morning as soon as I wake up. I do it before work, so that it's ready. It's ready to publish Friday night. And so, but yeah, I don't know how I decided. It might have just been that that's what lined up with one of the videos I was finishing, and maybe I just figured, oh yeah, people stay home and watch YouTube videos on Friday night. Again, I'm not the majority demographic, so yeah, this really. So I've also just started a class, so the class is going to be super easy. In fact, it really feels like a waste of my money, but I have to take it. So there it is. So I have to take it. So that shouldn't eat up too much time, but it really is making me question my ability to do an additional series. Not, it's time, right? Time is always the most precious resource, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm supposed to fit that in. But I don't want to just release like raw episodes, right? Again, no shade for the people who do that, right? But that's kind of me trying to distinguish myself is editing the video. And like I've said before, like I genuinely enjoy it. I'm still learning a lot of stuff. And I'm not by any means, like I'm not professionally trained for this. I'm just goofing around with DaVinci Resolve. I had to do it for work a few times, and then I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And I had been mulling over the idea of starting a YouTube channel for a long while, and I decided to just do a recording, give it a shot, record the video, And here we are. So that's enough channel talk. So let me summarize kind of what I did here. It's the same thing I did with iron, right? So I have 2 nodes, each giving me 120. So I split each once into 60, and then I split each of those conveyors again into 30. So I get 8 conveyors feeding 30 into the lifts, which is what the smelters need. And I do see that happen a lot, is that people will overfeed or underfeed, either smelters, constructors, whatever, right? And you don't want to do that unless you're underclocking or overclocking, because there's a lot of efficiency loss doing that, right? And mainly because the way the power grid works is that if a machine stops, it doesn't immediately start as soon as you get enough ore or material again. It takes a second, right? So really, you're not just losing whatever deficiency you have, whatever percentage of material that you're short, you lose more than that, right? So an easy fix is if you don't have enough, just underclock once you unlock that. Regardless, that's the end of the dub here. We actually have audio come back in. So this will be the original audio from when I was actually doing this. And it's coming in right now. Okay, now that we have all of our smelters patched in, conveyored up, they will be smelting for us, making these delicious copper ingots. And those we gotta then conveyor up to the next floor where we'll have some constructors. We'll do a little math, figure out how many constructors we need. Currently, we're only really making use of copper wire, cable, right? We will need copper sheets for piping, because we're gonna do, oh, that was a strange effect. We will need some also for copper plates, or rather copper sheets, for when we need to pipe water to our coal power plants. But for now, we don't need a whole lot. But either way, we'll do the math and we'll get started. are going to have to off camera literally shift everything down one. And that super sucks. So we got to build the wall there, shift everything down. That's why we were so scrunched up down there. It's because we were actually in the wrong spot. So we'll take care of that off screen. We won't even bring it up. We will just pretend that it's fine. All right, so we've wrapped it up for the copper. And so the way that I set it up, just because all of it split up quite evenly, is these three are doing copper sheets. These two are doing copper wire only. These two are doing copper wire to feed into this guy who's doing cable. So this should all add up evenly right now. We are going to need a lot of copper sheets for the piping. Probably not a crazy amount, but again, it splits up evenly, so we'll do that for now. If we need to, we can come back in here and adjust all of that. And while we were doing that, I'm fairly certain that we probably have enough smart plating now for phase 1. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that. All right, here we are. So let's see. So it looks like things are stopped here, probably because we're full up. Oh no. All right, and so some of you eagle-eyed viewers might have noticed that I actually forgot to turn on this assembler. It's currently building. However, this guy should be done, so it is. All right, so let's load up 50 here on the space elevator. Do the whole process of sealing, and then we're gonna send it. Scoot back so we get a good view of it. And there go the 50 smart plates. See you later. So it looks like we're gonna need more smart plating. So we'll actually put those assemblers back and get them going. It looks like we're gonna need 500 for phase 2. And might as well just get them out of the way. We'll probably set that up for the next episode. But let's look at the tiers that we've opened up. So coal power is the primary thing. And this is probably gonna be all of episode 7. Episode 7, I think we need to focus on getting our coal set up, because these biomass burners are not efficient. We want to get rid of these, or rather we want to relegate these to just as a backup source. So I'm sure there's coal nearby. Let's see actually what we need to unlock that. Maybe we can do that right now. We 100% can. We'll need more cable, and the good news about that is that we are producing cable. And while we go up there, we can actually put some bins in there. We'll put them there for the time being, since we're gonna need them. We will have these merge here. Dang, and I would love to have the larger. We'll replace those. We'll get to that. We will get to that. We'll set up the double large, or rather the double tall. We will set up the taller storage containers, is what I'm trying to say. And let's see here. Let's merge these guys. How many do these put out? I forgot. How many copper sheets? 10 per minute. So we're putting out a max of 30 total. So easy for a Mark 1. And let's see. Let's do another one here. There we go. That's what we want. Guys making 30 per minute. Take all that cable. We're gonna need all of it. Actually, we're gonna need potentially more than that, but we'll do this guy first. So this guy will be wire. It has been, I need to do some research because it's actually been a little while since I played. And I'm thinking I might be building too much wire. Entirely possible. Again, set up that way just because the math was nice. That's all we cared about there. Oh boy, we have this guy incorrectly off. Center. Everything must be centered. I have gotten into this bad habit of center clicking everything to pick it instead of remembering where they are on my hotbar. And I should get out of that habit. All right, let's do this one here.
Milestone reached. Coal is an improved alternative power source to biomass and can be fully automated if provided water with the new pipeline buildings and power throughout the initial setup. Coal has been added to the resource scanner. Note: ensure the close proximity of water to the coal production line. Note: pumps will aid in vertical transport of fluids through pipes. Note: throughput and volume indicators are added to each pipe section automatically.
So that's excellent, right? Fully automated power, that is what we want. Tractor may be useful, but that's all going to depend on how far coal is from us. We'll eventually have to do steel for sure. And then this is also good because, I mean, everything here is decent. The Xeno Basher makes us better able to fight the baddies. Let's take a quick look at tier 4. Yeah, so we're not too stressed about this. I'll see blueprints, right? I haven't used them before. It might be worth looking at them. And then some Mark III stuff. Here's our industrial storage container. It'd be great to have this guy. We're not in dire need of Mark III belts yet, or lifts. This would be good to have those. We'll see. We will see. Let's see where the coal is. Okay. Maybe we're not too far. There's no coal up there. Okay, there's coal over here. Not too far from us. 400,000. Oh boy. Some of this stuff is relatively far. So there is one within 350 meters of us here. Actually, that's not terribly far. You may be able to see it from up here. One more time. Let's see, can we see it from here? Let's use our photo lens here. That is not it. It's a space tick. It isn't too far, unfortunately. I haven't checked the interactive map online to see if it's pure or standard or whatever it might be. So that'll just be something we find out. Either way, it may be good to set up some vehicle transport, also just because it's fun. The other thing, though, that we have been neglectful in is setting up the MAM. So I'm actually going to do that right now. This will be the temporary spot until I think of a better place. But there is usefulness in at least getting some of this stuff taken care of. Let's grab what we have, get some of these done. So we do want that. Don't really care about pedals, but sure, let's grab those. Have to sacrifice a slug to use slugs.
New recipe unlocked.
We have to sacrifice another slug so that we can scan slugs.
New research available in the MAM.
Never mind. This is what we spend, which is a completely reasonable price. See, we want to get the overclock production as well.
Added to the object
we are not hurting for that at all. We are not hurting for overclocking. Here we do have to sacrifice another slug, but just to get it out of the way. Oh, although this also does allow us to underclock, for example, and that might be useful. Yeah, if we want to do the cable, no, it should be useful. We'll find a use. Underclocking is also incredibly useful. Let's see here, and so we have a few monster bits. We can do the hog research. All right, we can do the hatchery research. And I don't, yeah, we can't do either of the other ones. We haven't killed a spitter. And Lord knows we've avoided these stingers because, you know, I hate those guys. So I think first up for next episode is we will unlock vehicular transport, and then we're going to get coal. We're going to go to where that coal is. Unfortunately, it looks like it's just one node. We'll see what it is. If it's pure, that might be a good use case for the overclocking, because we're going to want to switch to coal as much as possible. We're going to want to at least meet the needs of this factory here with coal power. I am not sure if there's enough coal there, but we're going to find out. And so that'll be fun. For next episode, we'll get to do a bit of exploring, get away from the factory for a bit, take a stroll, fight some baddies probably. That should be a good change of pace from hanging out over here, building all this. If you've enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe and hit the bell so you get notifications. I drop episodes every Friday. However, that might change. It won't change for the next week, but I am considering maybe changing the day that I drop the episodes. Additionally, still exploring starting another series. I don't think I'll continue with Zelda for a number of reasons. One, there's not a lot of interest in it, which is fine. That's perfectly okay. Additionally, Nintendo can be very, strike happy, right? Every once in a while, it seems they seem to feel compelled to do that. I really doubt I'd be a target considering the number of views those videos get, but either way, I might take them down at some point just to avoid that. I am still seriously considering an XCOM series. I'm just trying to figure out what my angle would be. So stay tuned for that. And with that, I'll see you guys next time.